Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Mr. Saucedo's YouTube videos. Today we're going to talk about how you write names and formulas for transition metal ionic compounds. So this is going to be really quick. It's literally, I think, 1 or 2 slides. So remember that transition metals have a variety of charges. What does that mean? You have to kind of think about this. So, right, I have FeCl3, I have FeCl2. They're both irons, and they both are chlorides. How am I supposed to be able to tell that this is FeCl3 versus this is FeCl2? They're both iron chloride. So transition metals, remember, can have a variety of different charges. So that means that iron can actually exist in 2 states. It can be a 3 plus or a 2 plus. And so to signify that, what we kind of do is we have to think backwards and you have to reverse the crisscross. And you do that by looking at what your anions are at the end here. So think about this, right? I have FeCl3. When I'm writing formulas for things like this, the 3 had to have come from my cation, because when you crisscross, you move your charge from here to there and then from here to here. So this 3 had to have come from the iron. So you kind of have to think backwards. This would be iron with a 3 plus. So how do we signify that? Iron 3 chloride. Remember, you put the parentheses and then a Roman numeral to signify what the charge of your cation is. So think about this. What would that be then? That would be iron 2 chloride. And they're very different from one another. So that's why it's important that you know how to write these formulas for transition metal compounds, because it gets really difficult to kind of to find what you actually need to find when you're doing chemical reactions. If I said, hey, grab me a bottle of iron chloride, and you didn't know which one, then that would be a big issue. What about this? I have CrSO4. They both don't have charges. So you might think, oh, it's just a +1 and a -1 or something. But remember, if these two cancel, we don't put anything at all. So it could be a +1 and a -1, but it could be a +2 and a -2 or a +3 and a -3. So we have to look and see, what is SO4? So if you look up SO4 as a polyatomic ion, it is a 2-. So if that's a 2- and there's no parentheses or anything or any subscripts, that would mean that has to be a +2. So that would be Cr, that's chromium 2 plus. So chromium 2 sulfate. What about this one? So we got Br. Look up on your periodic table. Where do you find Br? What charge would Br have? It would have a -1. So that would mean this would have to have a +1 if there aren't any subscripts or anything. So that would be copper 1 bromide. Okay? And so that takes us to the next kind of part of our flow chart. So we already talked about, if you answer yes to this, and then if you answered no, it doesn't have a transition metal, you name it normally. But what if it does have a transition metal? So if the answer is yes, you must use a Roman numeral for the charge. So you crisscross it, or you reverse the crisscross to figure out what that would look like. And remember, there are only a couple of exceptions. Zinc is always a +2. Silver is always a +1. Cadmium is always a +2. So there are some exceptions. So sometimes you'll see transition metals and they won't actually have the Roman numeral, and that's because these are always understood to have the charge that I just stated. Okay? And that's it. So if you have any questions, let me know.